Alright, in this video, I'm going to review some different options that you have for quail or baby chick feeders. So these probably work for like baby chickens because they're similar size to a full-grown quail after like a week or two, maybe 3 weeks. But I have 3 different feeders in my quail enclosure that I've used for different reasons at various times in their lives. One is going to be the standard Tractor Supply type, I don't know what you'd call this feeder, just like long feeder with the holes in it. Right now I'm using this for some, mostly for some pebbles and calcium so that they have stronger, they have some grit and then some calcium for their eggs. This feeder has some issues I've found. Quail and chickens alike both like to kick bedding around their coop, and this feeder very quickly gets overrun with shavings, and you're gonna have shavings mixed with food and all that pretty quickly to the point where you're gonna have to open the little nodes up on this thing. So like right here, these are like clicked in. You're gonna have to open each of these here, pop the top off, and scoop out the extra shavings that have gotten pushed into there by the quail or by your chickens. So that's kind of an issue that you're going to have to contend with this feeder. This feeder's pretty good when they're just babies. Like I'm talking up to a week or old, maybe 2 weeks. For chickens, you probably have a week or two with this before they'll start just really kicking stuff all over the place. For quail, you might get like you probably get 2 or 3 weeks until they start kicking the frick out of it. Price-wise, it's a really cheap feeder. I mean, this is just a few dollars from your local Tractor Supply store. It's long, so there's plenty of holes for your animals to feed out of it, so it can accommodate a lot of quail and chickens. So, I mean, it's good on that end. It's just going to get really dirty really quickly. I definitely would not buy one of these again. I personally have not found it very nice to have to open this up each day and scoop out all of the shavings that they just inevitably kick all over it. I mean, you can see this quail right here. She's, well, she was pecking at the shavings here, and then she kind of was, yeah, there you see it. They do that, and then they like to scoop with their feet or kick the shavings with their feet. I don't know if she'll do it, but this is kind of the behavior that kicks up a bunch of shavings. When they kick with their feet, they really knock that stuff all over the enclosure, and it'll get into food, water, etc. So this just has too many holes, it's too open, and you're just going to end up with a lot of shavings and whatnot. And I've also had to scoop poop out of there, so it's pretty annoying to deal with. So I give this probably like a 5 out of 10. You know, it does the job. You'll have to, it's very hands-on. You're gonna have to do a lot of maintenance to keep the food or grit or whatever unobstructed by various shavings or poops. All right, next up, we've got a slightly better feeder. This is kind of another typical feeder you'll see at Tractor Supply. It's basically like a bottle, kind of like a bottle. And then at the bottom, it just uses gravity and the food comes out, and you have these holes here where they can peck and get the food. So it's got holes all the way around it here, and the food comes out as needed as they deplete it by eating it. There's some downsides and some upsides to this feeder. I would buy one of these again, but there's a few problems which I'll note here. The first issue I would note with this type of feeder is that you can't necessarily just top it off and then put it back in. You actually So once it gets down to where there's just a little bit left in here, you'll often want to unscrew this bottle and refill it. But in order to fill that back up, you're going to have to put that bottom part. You're going to have to put that bottom part upside down and screw it back on the bottle. So if there's anything left in the bottom part, any little bit left, you're going to have to dump it out either into their cage or back into the bag of feed. And if it has any, shavings in it, which it inevitably will because there's holes, then you're going to be dumping some shavings back into your food bag. And so topping it off is a bit of a pain. You can top off this red one right here, and there's no problem with doing that. But with this, to top it off, you're going to have to unscrew that bottle and fill the bottle up, dump out the bowl, and then screw the bowl onto the bottle upside down, and then flip it back into this position here. So this is the main issue, I would say, with this feeder. And I'll go into some pros here. What I do like about this feeder is that it's a lot less prone to having shavings kicked into it than this red one, mostly because there's just less surface area that you can have crap kicked into it. Yeah, I mean, this one is open from all sides quite a bit, so they can kick a lot into it. This is not, and that's nice. I also like that it's gravity fed, so more food keeps coming down, and so that keeps it relatively unobstructed. So if they were to kick some stuff in there, the gravity feeder here would just, food would continue to come down as they finish the rest of the food, and it would cover the crap that they've kicked in. And so you're always going to have a fresh layer of food probably at the top that they can eat if all goes to crap. Overall, I'd probably give this feeder like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. I think my biggest issue with it is that you can't top it off, right? So you have to pour everything out, scoop food into that bottle, and then pour everything out of the bowl and screw the bowl onto the top of the bottle and then flip it. So that means you're gonna have to pour out whatever's remaining in case if you're worried, if you don't want to let this go down to nothing, you typically have to refill it before there's nothing left in it. So that's going to be an annoyance. I'm sure it's an annoyance for me. Minor other annoyance is that my quail have knocked this down before, especially when it gets low on food. It's pretty easy to hit if they fly, if they pop in their cage and fly up or fly to the right or something. They can just knock this thing right down. It's pretty, you can see that it's not very heavy. It's not very heavy at the top, so pretty easy to just pop that thing and it'll pretty easily tip over like that. So they've tipped that over once or twice and let all the food out, which is pretty bad too. But overall, it does the job. And for quail and also baby chickens, this does a pretty good job, I'd say. Now, for my all-time favorite solution, the 99-cent solution. That's right, 99 cents. You go to Walmart or Home Depot or Target or whatever, and you just get one of these plastic containers right here, and open the top here to see that there's food in here. You get one of these plastic containers, and you cut some really crappy holes like I've done here, big enough for their head to go in here and for them to kind of reach in a little bit and pick the food up. You can see that they create some divots here of the food, so I occasionally mix it so that there's easy access to food. But you can see that this does not really get covered in shavings, and it's only big enough for them to stick their head in and peck out some food. So they're not going to be kicking shavings in very much because there's only a couple places where this is open. And you can top it off super easily by just opening this lid here and pouring more food in and closing the lid back up, and boom, you're ready to go. Put it back in, right into your cage, And the quail my quail learned pretty much immediately to use that. I've seen them all using it. Probably baby chickens could figure it out. I don't know. I haven't used it for baby chicks. I've used the red thing here and this for baby chicks before, so I know they can use that. But this is like the perfect feeder for quail. They will learn it quickly, and it costs you 99 cents. It's a lot more hands-off. You don't have to scoop out shavings very often. They will kick some stuff in. Anything that has an opening will get shavings kicked in, but you'll have to do a lot less maintenance than, say, that red feeder right there. I mean, downsides, I guess, is that you have to cut the holes yourself, and I did a pretty garbage job, so it's not an attractive looking feeder, but it's pretty utilitarian, and it's 99 cents. So in 2023, 99 cents for anything is a pretty good deal. So that's what I would suggest. Get one of these, take 5 minutes and grab your kitchen scissors and cut some holes toward the top like I showed. And then you can just pour scoops of food right in and they will learn almost immediately. So yeah, I think that's my favorite one. I give this a 9 out of 10. It is just pretty dull looking to have this in the coop. But I mean, aesthetics don't really matter a whole lot. So yeah, they seem to do well with it. Here's all my quail. I've got like maybe 18 in here right now. But I've got about a little over 20 square foot, I think, and then I've got all these little enclosures for them to go into. They're all hanging out over here because I'm a scary human looming over their cage. So thanks for watching this honest review. Hope you liked it. I gave a rating from my least favorite to my most favorite feeders. Yeah, feel free to post in the comments what you think is best. But I've had my most luck with the homemade solutions. So, thank you.